na kagad. Nasa ospital na, kailangan ng pambili ng antibiotic or kailangan ng pan-down or whatever, kailangan or kaya hindi ooperahan pagka walang PhilHealth o kaya walang guarantee leader, kailangan mo na. So there's no question that when we talk about possible dole-outs, there are many situations where you need it urgently and you need it now. So this Senate bill makes it easier for them to get it right away, na walang padrino, walang politika. No? Having said that, Mr. President, I ask that we, as a group, as hopefully people with more wisdom in our age, will come up with the medium and long-term solutions. I'm happy that yung 4-piece program natin ay from a simple conditional cash transfer, nagkaroon po ng mga conditions sa kalusugan ng mga anak, nagkaroon ng proposal, magkaroon ng bigas. Ngayon, libre na rin yung kuryente. Of course, I also honor Senator Marcoleta kasi siya nag-bring up niya nung eleksyon. Kaya binitbit na rin nung administrasyon yung panukala. But my point is, Mr. President, if you look at Singapore, Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, all these countries have programs for micro and small entrepreneurs. Sa atin, 5-6 pa rin, Mr. President. So, we have almost 200 billion in ayuda every year. That's why I proposed, bigyan na lang ng GSMIL, diretso lahat, because we can actually do it. And actually, it's increased. More than 300 billion na yung ayuda, Mr. President. So while we support this bill and while this is a good endeavor, may I encourage all of us, no, especially sa executive department, come out with those programs sa kalusugan. Katulad ng PhilHealth, Mr. President, no? May I make this manifestation, Mr. President? Dito sa kamarang ito, tinanong natin sa PhilHealth, pagka puno na yung charity ward, hindi ba pwede na gamitin yung pay ward pero babayaran ng PhilHealth? Sabi nila pwede. Pwede naman talaga kasi nasa batas eh. Kung hindi pa binanggit, hindi pa mangyayari. Pinangako ng PhilHealth na ngayon taon na to, wala nang delay sa gamot. For the information of my colleagues, especially Senator Bongo and Senator Risa, the chairperson and the active sa Health Committee, walang TB medicines ngayon. Kausapin natin po yung mga LGUs, hindi daw nakapag-deliver kasi maraming dahilan. I'll let DOH answer themselves. I hope it's not true. Why? Ang TB, pag natigil yung gamot, umpisa ka na naman sa umpisa. At pag nag-umpisa ka sa umpisa, meron pong danger na maging resistant na yung pasyente. Mabuti po yung mayayaman na cities nakakabili ng sarili. Yung mga mas mahihirap na municipalities hindi makabili. So my point, Mr. President, is that programs that push for independence, creativity, for small businesses, for people to take care of themselves, will eventually shove out yung mga dole-outs natin, Mr. President. So it's in my hope na kung gaano kabilis natin napasa ang Senate Bill 155, yung mga programa para sa entrepreneurship, puhunan, kapital, pera pa, mga pondo para sa edukasyon at kalusugan, maipasa natin kagad. Thank you for this opportunity, Majority Leader, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Cayetano. Majority Leader, there's...
Yes, Mr. President, there's a request from our dear colleague, Senator Villanueva. Since the Gilas Pilipinas women team gold medalists are here today, maybe we can have a photo opportunity with them, also giving them a copy of the approved resolution we did last week.
And we have approved the resolution already.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So all we need to do is suspend session for a few minutes, Mr. President. I so move, Mr.
Yeah.
President, with the permission of the body.
Session suspended.
BS on first reading. Senate Bill number 1833, and establishing the Capiz Medical Center under the supervision, control, and management of the Department of Health and Promoting Funds therefore by Senator Soto.
To the Committee on Rules.
1834, an act granting Bohol Light Company Incorporated a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, own, manage, and maintain a distribution system for conveyance of electric power to end users in the city of Tagbilaran Province of Bohol, ensuring the continuous and supply of electricity in the franchise area by Senator Cayetano P.
Referred to Committee on Public Services.
1835, an act organizing the Department of Public Works and Highways and rationalizing the powers and functions of the central office, regional offices, and these offices by Senator Soto III.
To the Committees on Public Works, Civil Service, and Finance.
1836, an act mandating the proper installation and maintenance of overhead electric distribution, communication lines, and related structures by Senator Marcos.
Referred to the Committees on Public Services and Public Works.
1837, an act imposing a total ban on the importation of waste and inspired products or residues and providing penalties therefor by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Environment and Finance.
1838, an act converting the municipality of Lingayen in the province of Pangasinan into component city to be known as the city of Lingayen by Senator Soto III.
To the Committee on Rules.
1839, an act establishing a comprehensive, integrated, and sustainable reintegration program for overseas Filipino workers by Senator Tulfo-R.
To the Committees on Migrant Workers and Finance.
1840, an act establishing a framework for blue economy, promoting stewardship and sustainable development of coastal and marine ecosystems and resources by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Economic Affairs, Environment, and Finance.
1841, an act establishing the private basic education voucher program, providing for the creation of the Bureau of Private Education and providing funds therefor, or repealing the purpose of sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 14, and 15 of Republic Act number 8545, otherwise known as Expanded Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act, which amended Republic Act number 6728, otherwise known as the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1842, an act institutionalizing the public basic education schools in geographically isolated, disadvantaged, and conflict-affected areas, providing access roads leading to last-mile schools, and providing funds therefor by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
1843, an act abolishing the travel tax by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Ways and Means, Tourism, and Finance.
1844, an act strengthening the Legal Education Board, amending for the purpose Republic Act number 7662, otherwise known as the Legal Education Reform Act of 1993, and appropriating funds therefor by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Higher Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1845, an act furthering amending Republic Act number 7898 as amended by Republic Act number 10349 to strengthen the implementation of the revised AFP modernization program and for other purposes by Senator Ligarda.
To the Committees on National Defense, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Resolutions. Resolution number 292. Resolution congratulating and commending Mr. Lito Viterbo for setting the Guinness World Record for the fastest crossing of the Philippines on foot, complementing journey in 5 months, and for promoting environmental awareness through the Leave No Trace advocacy by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
293. The resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate to the Philippines to the bereaved family of architect Lorenzo Lor Calma, respected pioneer, mentor, and visionary who helped shape modern architecture and interior design by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
294. Resolution congratulating and commending Ernest John E.J. Obiña for winning the gold medal in pole vault event at the International Springer meeting held in Cottbus, Germany by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
295. Resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate of Philippines to the family and loved ones of Philippine Master Sander Severino, acknowledging his life, legacy, and contributions to Philippine chess and fire sports by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
296. Resolution congratulating and commending the senior high school students of Colegio de San Juan de Letran for being named global champions at the GEL ISABC and EduPro Green Talent Program Awards 2025 held at the University of Leeds in the United Kingdom by Senator Lapid.
That's a very good school, huh? Referred to the Committee on Rules.
298. Resolution directing the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Food, and Agrarian Reforms to conduct an inquiry in need of legislation and the challenges facing the Philippine sugar industry and to review for this purpose the chart of sugar recorded admission and the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015 by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Agriculture.
299. Resolution directing the appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in need of legislation on the plans in progress of different national government agencies on the implementation of Republic Act Number 12314, otherwise known as the General Purpose Act of 2026 by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Finance.
Resolution number 300, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committees to conduct an investigation in need of legislation into matters pertaining to alleged Philippine-based operations aimed at manipulating public perception through internet platforms infrastructure on an accused sex trafficker as publicly reported the materials associated with the Epstein investigations, which may have helped to promote and perpetrate human trafficking and other related offenses, and to recommend receive measures to strengthen accountability, protection, and compliance with international conventions to which the Philippines is a party by Senator Ligarda.
To the Committees on Women and Justice. Mr. Inasmuch as we are being watched on live stream and the public is watching, just for the record, they might be asking why we are referring the Capiz Medical Center to the Committee on Rules instead of the Committee on Health, no? Because this is a bill of local application. When a bill of local application is filed in the Senate, we refer it first to the Committee on Rules, and the Rules Committee decides later on, or awaits a local version. Then that also goes for the Senate Bill 1838, in case they're asking, instead of local government committee, it's in the Committee on Rules because of the same reason. Just for the record.
Yes, that's correct, Mr. President.
1834,
I may only refer it, Mr. President, to the proper committee once it is referred to us from the House of Representatives.
yes, the Senate Bill 1834 is referred to the Committee on Public Services, although it is a bill of local application because we have already received the local version.
That's correct, Mr. President,
All right,
for the record.
just for the record so that the public is informed.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1508 under Committee Report number 12. This is an act authorizing the Department of Health to set and approve the bed capacity and service capability of DOH hospitals, Mr. President. I so move.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
May we recognize the sponsor, Senator Rizon de Veros, and to interpolate a distinguished colleague, for Senator Joel Villanueva.
The sponsor, Senator Risa Ontiveros, is recognized, and to interpolate, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. May we know if our dear colleague, the sponsor of the measure, would yield to some clarificatory questions from this representation, Mr. President.
Very gladly, Mr. President, to the good gentleman.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. Let me also put into the records of this August chamber that I am in full support of this measure, and we feel that it is important that we ask some questions to strengthen our position and to ensure that this measure is indeed needed, and that this measure is a important piece of legislation. May I first start by saying, Mr. President, that when the COVID-19 pandemic exposed critical gaps in our healthcare facilities, ebidensya po dyan yung overwhelming situation in our hospitals, yung lack of hospital beds, at the height of the pandemic, yung emerging threats such as more recent, Mr. President, like what's we have been experiencing right now, the threats of Nipah virus that underscores the need for preparedness. And of course, our people need to be reassured that when such emergencies arise, our hospitals will be adequately equipped to absorb sudden increases in patient volume without, again, emphasizing and compromising yung pong service and care. So may we know from the good sponsor, Mr. President, that, how does this proposed measure future-proof this new policy that seeks to improve the capacities and the capabilities of our health facilities?
Salamat, Mr. President. Isa po sa mga paraan kung papaano itong bill ay nag-future-proof ng ating universal healthcare system at yung kalusugan ng ating mga kababayan ay dahil minamandate nitong bill na to yung development at saka maintenance ng Philippine Health Facility Development Plan bilang strategic blueprint sa pagmo-modernize ng mga hospital infrastructure at services nationwide. Ito pong PHFDP po enables access to capital outlay investment and ensures the alignment of hospital expansions with national health facility planning and investment priorities. So ibig sabihin po, itong bill ay kinokonteksto dun sa isang longer term and therefore strategic plan na tinitignan paano talaga fully isa-set up yung infrastructure at ima-match yung health services including sapat na bilang ng mga ospital at sapat na bilang ng mga beds mismo for the Philippines moving forward in time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. Matagal na po na napag-uusapan dito sa bulwagang ito na tuwing tayo po ay magbibigay ng o tatalakayin yung mga panukalang batas para increase yung bed capacity. Lagi yung nasasabi, kaka-increase lang nitong isang araw, nung isang Congress, ngayon increase ulit, etc. But then, hindi na ipapaliwanag ng gusto kung bakit ho ganun. Kasi nag-i-increase din ang volume ng ating patients, nag-i-increase ang ating population. And so, kailangan talaga na mas maging sensitive tayo doon sa pag-increase ng bed capacity. And as a concrete example, Mr. President, distinguished colleague, and taking off from the experience, our experience during the COVID-19 pandemic, will the Department of Health include health emergencies and emerging diseases in determining and authorizing increases in hospital bed capacity in hospitals across regions, Mr. President?
In a way, Mr. President, opo. Dahil yung isang basehan mismo ng Philippine Health Facility Development Plan at yung bill na ito ay yung burden of disease sa bawat lokalidad. So kung nag-figure na po sa isang lokalidad or maraming lokalidad sa ating bansa, yung mga emerging diseases, yung mga new diseases, then opo, mag-figure din po iyan sa pagpaplano sa ilalim ng PHFDP at ng bill na ito tungkol sa bed capacity, Mr. President.
Maganda pong nabanggit nyo yung plano, no? Yung Philippine Health Development Plan. And to better understand, Mr. President, distinguished colleague, yung kahalagahan nitong panukalang batas na ito, pwede ho bang malaman, just for the record, sa ating sponsor, ano ba yung estado ngayon ng ating mga pasilidad sa bansa, Mr. President? Siguro, Mr. President, yung magandang maitanong, yung hospital ratio siguro, no? Yung hospital bed to population ratio, and matanong na rin natin sa ating colleague, ano ba yung ideal na ratio, no? When we talk about hospital bed to population ratio, Mr. President?
Mr. President, may ideal nga at ito po ay sinasabi ng Department of Health ang target na 2.7 beds per 1,000 population. Pero wala pa po talaga tayo sa ganoon, Mr. President, in absolute terms. Halimbawa, as of June last year, 2025, mayroon lamang ang gobyerno na 60,395 hospital beds na nagtatala po ng 114,251 bed capacity gaps. Kung titignan po natin yung kabuang kalagayan ng mga DOH hospitals, kaugnay ng usapin ng bed capacity, sa kasalukuyan, Mr. President, mayroon pong 94 public hospitals sa ilalim ng Department of Health. 78 po dyan ay functional, 4 ay government-owned and controlled, 10 pa po ay mga bagong ospital na itatayo pa lamang, 1 po ay management office pa lamang, yan po yung Philippine Cancer Center, at 1 pa po ay ongoing ang conversion bilang DOH hospital. Yan naman po yung Freeport Area of Bataan General Hospital. Meron din yung 10 bagong ospital na itatayo pa lamang ay pwede ko rin pong i-enumerate kung ninanais ng good gentleman. At sa lahat po ng mga ospital na ito, on average, ang current occupancy rate po ay 136%.
Wow.
So, over 100%, way above yung rekomendadong 80 to 85% lamang. Kung kaya nga't yung mga government hospitals natin po ay natural, overcrowded, understaffed at saka under-resourced. At ito po ay nagre-resulta sa mga masasamang resulta, longer waiting times, treatment delays, overcrowding, Mr. President, weak emergency and disaster response. Tinanong po ng good gentleman from Bulacan kanina yung emergency, to name a few. At bilang apex or end referral hospitals within the healthcare provider network, syempre po, ito palang bed capacity gap sa DOH hospitals nag-i-impact na po sa buong implementasyon ng UHC Act of 2019.
Salamat po at mas maliwanag ngayon sa pananaw ng ating mga kababayan kung bakit napakahalaga nitong batas po na ito. I'm looking at the figures that the distinguished sponsor mentioned a while ago. So it appears now that the ideal would be 2.8 beds per 1,000, but right now it looks like we're not even hitting the one bed per 1,000, Mr. President. Is that a correct assumption?
Way less than half, Mr. President. Tama po.
Tama. Salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Mr. President, let me go to another point. Yung hospital bed capacity is closely linked to capital availability and local resources, no? At nagre-resulta po ito in regional disparities. In fact, areas with lower poverty incidence generally enjoy higher bed-to-population ratios, while the poorer regions remain underserved. Tinitingnan ko po itong National Health Facility Registry at yung huling data is sa 2024. Pinapakita po, for example, that Batanes has the highest hospital bed density, higher bed-to-population ratio, while the Dinagat Islands recorded the lowest. At in further looking at the analysis of the PIDS hospital statistical report, it indicates chronic overcrowding in public hospitals. And this is largely driven by insufficient capital investment. So, ang tanong ko lang, Mr. President, paano po, have we mapped this data up to the local level para po malaman natin kung anong locality, anong rehiyon yung dapat ay i-prioritize po natin. Otherwise, Mr. President, there might be the same addressing of concerns sa gusto nating ma-accomplish, Mr. President.
Unfortunately, Mr. President, the best we can do for now is provincial level. Pero dahil kahit ito pong pagtukoy ng mga probinsya na wala pang DOH hospital, and mind you, Mr. President, 36 sila out of the 82 provinces. At salamat sa pagbanggit ng good gentleman from Bulacan sa Dinagat Island, isa po siya sa mga probinsya sa Region 13 na wala pang DOH hospital. But since nga po, natukoy na itong 36 provinces na walang DOH hospital sa loob ng Philippine Health Facility Development Plan, pwede po natin hingiin sa DOH. Mas idetalye pa po nila ang pagpayo sa atin dito sa Senado o sa buong Kongreso. Ano yung mga gaps down to the local level, Mr. President.
Salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. At I was just told, Mr. President, by Senator Amy, that even the great province of Laguna, wala din pong provincial hospital, Mr. President. Kaya
Actually, Mr. President, i-check ko po sa DOH, baka mali yung datos ng department. Dahil sa impormasyon na meron po ako,
36, Mr. President.
Region 4A ay isa sa mga rehiyon na ang lahat, di umano, ng mga probinsya ay may DOH hospital. So i-double check ko po yung datos ng DOH.
Thank you, Mr. President. I cannot overemphasize, Mr. President, the importance of these health facilities because in my own town, in Bukawi, Mr. President, our family, and this is for the glory of God, our family actually donated almost 2 hectares of property, prime property, right in front of Philippine Arena for our public hospital because we have yet to establish one hospital in our district in the history of this country. So nakita ko po, Mr. President, na talagang napakahalaga nitong measure na ito at itong ninanais na ma-accomplish ng panukalang batas na ito, Mr. President.
Salamat, Mr. President. At sa pagbanggit din sa hometown ng good gentleman mula sa Bulacan. Dahil sa pagdedetalye at paghahanda nitong interpellation, isang magandang halimbawa yung Johnny Villanueva General Hospital. Opo, na sa kasalukuyang batas, level 2 hospital, authorized bed capacity niya by license 100 beds, but ang implementing bed capacity is 170. So halos doble ang pagseserbisyo niya sa mga pasyente, mga mamamayan ng bayan kaysa pa sa authorized bed capacity. And sa ilalim ng bill na ito, kung maipasa na po natin, pwede pong administratively i-implement ng DOH ang bed capacity increase at pati service capability upgrade batay po sa hospital development plan ng department sa Johnny Villanueva General Hospital.
Thank you, Mr. President, for stating this important information. And let me also emphasize, Mr. President, more than 80 to 90% of our patients do not belong to our hometown in Bukawi. In fact, this is the very first hospital in the entire district, and it's catering almost to all Bulaqueños from the province, Mr. President. Thank you for that, Mr. President. And that's one of the main reasons why we are fully supporting this measure, because of the fact that hindi na ho kailangang bumalik at paulit-ulit yung mahabang proseso. No? But of course, we wanted to make sure that we'll be able to accomplish and hit our goals, Mr. President, with this measure. Nung COVID-19 pandemic po, yung DOH established a national indicator-based surveillance system at para po ma-monitor nila yung health system